So as I said, I work at Stellar WP, and one of Stellar WP's products in our family of products is Cadence, Cadence theme, Cadence blocks. And I am just so lucky that I get to work with Kathy Zant on the regular. Unfortunately, we don't work in the same physical space, but we're in the same Slack space, and we talk to each other quite frequently, especially when I have questions. I'm like, I don't know what to do with Cadence, help me. And she's like, here's the information. Because she is a whiz at what she does. And so I am just so excited to get to work with her. Kathy, you are in Texas, is that right?
I am in Texas. I'm in Denton, Texas, which is also, I didn't know but when I moved here, but people say this is the home of happiness from Rocky Horror Picture Show. And there's like actually a sign. And it's like a small little college town outside of Dallas, very close to horse country, which was important for my daughter. But yeah, I'm like, how did I get here? You know, I don't know what I'm doing in Denton, Texas, but it's a very cool little college town. Texas Women's University and University of North Texas are here. So it's fun and funky and also Texas. It's weird.
Fantastic. Well, I'm so grateful. I reached out to Kathy and I said, I'm looking for some more topics to get us through the end of the year. I think that people want to learn about using blocks and with the block editor and how that works with themes that are page builders like Cadence is, and kind of left it wide open to do with whatever she wants to teach us tonight about that. And she was absolutely, I'd be happy to talk to your group. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Kathy. Kathy, feel free to share your screen. I'm going to mute myself.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Well, thank you everybody for where do I want to show? I will share my screen and get over to the slides, and I am going to share the slides in, oh, well, I have to stop the share, just do that first. I'm going to put that into the chat. So if you guys want to follow along to the slides on your own rather than looking at my goofy screen, you can go ahead and do that. I'm just going to share this one that's got, I'm going to do a lot of demos and such here, because we can talk about all of this stuff up here, but you know, it's not until you actually start working with Cadence blocks and working with the block editor that you go, oh my gosh, I get this. And that was my experience. Now I've been in WordPress forever and a day. Facebook reminds me once a year that I once tore apart core and put it back together the way I wanted it to way long time ago. I would never do such a thing now, but I was a developer, I was a coder, and WordPress just kind of made things easier. There were all these other people contributing plugins and themes and code, and it just made building websites so much easier. So I kind of went all in on WordPress. And when Gutenberg came out, I was like, okay, I see where this is going. I can see where this is going. Okay, I really see where this is going, but I wasn't excited about it. And it wasn't until I started really playing with Cadence that I finally got it. I finally understood where blocks were going, and they made sense to me, and it finally put it into a framework that was useful. I'm going to show you a lot of that tonight, and show you basically how to get started with Cadence for someone like Quasi, who's just getting into WordPress as a start, or somebody who has been using Classic Editor and you're just getting started with blocks, and you see that this is the future and that's the way you want to go. We're going to try to make this as easy as possible, but I'm also going to open a lot of doors in this mansion and show you all that Cadence can do, so that you can kind of get an idea of why this is the most powerful framework for WordPress right now, and why I'm kind of hanging my Kathy Zant star on this one, because it is really powerful. So if we look at kind of WordPress, it started out just as a blogging platform, right? People were blogging back in the day, and this was the easiest way to do so. Then people were starting to do a lot of internet marketing and whatnot, and people wanted to build out landing pages, and the page builder world kind of came along, and we had things like WP Bakery and Divi, Site Origin, and Elementor a few years ago really made a giant splash. And then once Gutenberg kind of came out, we started seeing the block building world get started, and Cadence blocks was actually released. The blocks plugin was actually released before Gutenberg ever was in core. It was the innovator. It was the first one into the space. But then we started seeing a lot of other very lightweight theme developers start creating all of these other block plugins. And now the space is really growing. We're at an innovation stage where it's kind of in the Wild West and things are happening really quickly and really sort of contributing to some excitement in WordPress, which is cool. So there's a number of them listed here. I'm really going to focus on cadence blocks because it was my aha moment and it's the thing I know the best, but you can look at Genesis has blocks now, Generate blocks. Spectra is new on the scene, but it's made by the makers of the Astra theme, which is very popular theme. Breakdance has just come out. That's the Oxygen Builder's answer to blocks. Stackable and Crocobox are a couple of the other competitors in the space. So obviously go and play with all of them as you explore this world. So if you're going to look at the old school page builders, they've been around a while and they've really kind of been battle tested. So they have more robust interfaces, like Elementor, I think is what, 9 million sites now. Divi has been around for a very long time. Divi actually came into my world. My husband actually found, because I was trying to get him to use WordPress for his site and he was just not getting it, mostly because a lot of the stuff he wanted to do was going to require me writing the PHP code for him. And I was like, I've got other things to do. And he found Divi and was like, I can do this. This is something I can do. And so he started building sites with Divi. And then he started working more with Elementor. But these were very user-friendly, easy things for him to do at the time. Kind of wish he was still doing this and working with Cadence at this point, but he is now retired. But it was an opener. It opened a lot of doors for him. He didn't want to code, and it really opened a world where he felt more in control of his WordPress sites. And that was wonderful and beautiful. The problem with these page builders were you come into a page and you decide, okay, this is going to be on site origin, or this is going to be on Divi. And then that page is locked in. It's locked into Elementor. It's locked into whatever page builder you're using. So that page, let's say you wanted to use a feature of Cadence blocks, you can't really use it there because that is the Elementor page or the site origin page, and that's locked in that way. So you're either choosing to go with Gutenberg and blocks and all of the blocks, or you're going with that page being on that site, that's page builder. These page builders tend to be a little heavier on the site because there is so much functionality going on with them. And it, in terms of page metrics and page speed with like Lighthouse speed measurements, they tend to be a bit slower. I was really excited when I came upon Cadence and built my first few pages with Cadence and ran them through Lighthouse. And I was like, "Whoo, Nelly, look at this one go extremely fast." One of the great things about these new block plugins is that they can, let's say you want to build a page and you want a Cadence blocks, but there's something that Generate blocks does that you need to have on your site. You can have both of these block plugins installed on your site, and then you can call in a Cadence block and a Generate Press block, or any of the other block tools you can use on the same page. You're not like locked in on a page into just one vendor. So it gives you a lot more freedom and flexibility for how you're going to build your site. There also tend to be a lot more accessibility aware. At least I can say that for Cadence. We've had issues where we actually have customers who are building sites and they are using page readers, and they'll write in often saying, hey, this one little thing needs to change for accessibility. And they will actually walk through our devs, and our devs are very focused on this and make things more accessible. So I love that. I get to see behind the scenes what they're doing, and just the fact that they're putting so much emphasis on accessibility going forward makes me very happy. This is definitely a space where things are growing. And because of that, innovation is happening very rapidly. I guess, I don't know if it's a pro or a con, because it requires you to kind of pay attention to what's happening in the space to see what's the newest, greatest thing that's happening that you might want to incorporate in your site, or requires just a level of learning just because of where it is sort of in that product growth trajectory. It's not a mature space at this point. It's very much innovative. I think this is what the future of WordPress is. And with that innovation comes a lot of opportunity. And I think, I'm seeing this not only with WordPress, but, I'm seeing this sort of as the future of WordPress and the future of the web. There's actually something called that I came across a few months ago called the block protocol, which are basically saying blocks are the future of the internet. It's not just WordPress. So Gutenberg, while it was maybe challenging for people a few years ago, has really spurred innovation in the web as a whole. So to me, this is the space where you want to, if you're just getting into WordPress and you're just learning about blocks, you are at the forefront. If you've been in WordPress for a very long time and you have to migrate your sites over to blocks, I'm sorry, but this is the future. And this is definitely something you want to take a look at. And this is where Cadence has been the innovator. It's way more than just a theme. So when I first started at Stellar, it was interesting. I was with a different WordPress vendor before doing marketing and in the security space, and made a job change, and was actually reached out to by someone at Stellar, and it's like, hey, what do you want to work on? Like the smorgasbord of products were offered to me in terms of like different things that I could contribute to, and Cadence just lit me up. It was so exciting to see what was happening here. It was the thing that finally made Gutenberg and blocks make sense to me. And it's not just the blocks plugin, it's everything. Cadence is way more than just a theme. It is a collection of solutions that really help people create more effective websites. And the developer, Ben, who was the innovator who created Cadence Blocks, is just an amazing human being, and someone that I consider myself very lucky to work with. I'm trying to adjust my screen so I can move around here a little bit better. There's so much going on here. I wanted to show you kind of like how to get started with Cadence with the starter templates, and then also talk a little bit about some of the other features. We're going to look at dynamic content, which is basically, you've got posts, you've got pages, but let's say, for example, you want to create a staff directory or a directory of adoptable kittens, or a business directory, or you have a real estate agency you're building a site for and you want to create a directory of all of the agents that work in that agency. Or let's say you have a blog and you're going to sell sponsorships for all of and you want to have sponsored posts on pages. All of that is something that you can customize and build out your own solution using Cadence and dynamic content. So I want to give you a little bit of a taste of that. Cadence conversions, blocks that create pop-ups, modals, as well as slide-ins for like collecting email addresses, for promotions of coupon codes and sales, those types of things. Tons of stuff you can do with Cadence conversions. Cadence Shop Kit, I'll give you a quick look at that. That is basically taking that dynamic content engine and applying it to WooCommerce. And the coolest thing that it does is basically opens up the ability to create custom templates for all of your products. So I'll just give you a very high level view of that as well, but I will have resources later in the presentation in the speaker notes that you should be able to see that you can look at if you want to go deeper into those things. And then I'm going to give you just a high level view of the Cadence marketplace that is developing, because Cadence has tools that allow you to basically develop little snippets of blocks and sell those or offer those to customers as a bonus, or even just share them across multiple sites. So I can't remember who said that they had multiple sites that they were working on. Let's say you develop a contact form and you love it and you want to copy it over to all of your sites and make it available for any future sites. You can put it in a Cadence cloud and make that completely and totally accessible. And then there's a bunch of people who are creating child themes based on Cadence and selling those. And so I wanted to give you just a taste of those as well. That was a lot. I hope I didn't throw too much at you, but let's get started just looking at how easy it is to get started with Cadence. So this is just like a very basic generic site that I use for testing. There's not much here on it, but you can see that Cadence is loaded here. And Cadence has a ton of different starter templates that come in a plugin. So we'll just install that starter template plugin. And you can kind of see all of the different starter templates that are here. Some of them are pro, but then, let's say, I don't want to spend any money today and I just want to see all the free ones. There are tons of free ones as well. And if you go to the cadencewp.com site, you can sort through all of these and kind of get an idea of which ones might be best for you based on different categories. So you might have, I really love this one, Yosemite. I think it is just the prettiest thing, but there's this is the cool thing about this one. You can not only select this and say, okay, this is going to be my site. And it shows you like all of the different pages that you get with it. And all of this content gets populated into your site. All kinds of fun stuff. But let's go back to the home page, and I want to show you how easy it is to like theme it. So let's say you've got a destination you're doing a site for, but you don't necessarily want it to be the standard green. You want it to have a little bit of blue to it. Maybe you want a dark theme. You can go with that. You can change all of these colors later. You can change the fonts and get started here. And then if there's any required plugins, this one requires cadence blocks and the event calendar, because there's an event, I think under the attractions part. And you can go ahead and just import, if you wanted to just import a single page, you could do that, or you can just, I am on the list about 1,000 times, stop. Then you could just set this up to pull in all of that content. And this content is living on a server somewhere, and it pulls it in so that it's on your site. It's your site, once it is all imported here, it's never going to refer back to our servers. It's pulling in the images. It's pulling in the sample blog page posts. It's pulling in all of the pages. It's pulling in the events calendar and cadence from the repository. So all of that.
Whoever is unmuted, can you mute please?
Let's go.
Might be Beth.
I think so, yeah.
I think I got her muted.
Okay, yep,
Okay.
she's good.
And this just takes a minute or two, but there are tons of different options available here that will allow you to pull in starter templates, starter site. And it's basically a whole starter site. So this will take like a couple minutes because it is copying all of that over, but we'll check back in a minute on that.
So Kathy?
Yes.
So let me make sure I understand.
Mhm.
If I have a site that's just built in old WordPress, I can pick up one of these templates and then suck the content in from my old site. Is that what you're saying?
If you already have an existing site, what I would do is if you wanted to pull in some of these designs, I would use the library, which I'll show you in 1 second. Rather than using a whole starter site, the starter site's going to overwrite your customizer settings. And so for your fonts and your colors. So if you have existing content on a site, I wouldn't use a starter site. I would just use the design library. Let me give you a quick look at that. So let's say we go here and we want to add a new page. You can go in here to the design library. And I'm pretty sure the starter packs are all right here. Yeah. So some of them are pro and you'll see those labeled as such. But let's say, I'm not even going to try to find Yosemite. There's at least 70 starter template sites available. But let's say you wanted to pull in something from, I'm just going to take this painting one. All of those pages are there. So this way, you're not overriding any of the customizer settings. It'll stay with what your site is, but you can create a page. Let's say we want to take the pricing page and say, like, that's our new page. You can pull that in here. Let's see how it looks with Sally's site. I'm not quite sure how it's going to look. Well, Sally has the real estate site on. Anyway, you might need to tweak it a little bit and get it functional for your site, but you can pull in all of that using this design library. So all of the starter site templates will be in the design. So if you have an existing site, use the design library and pull in pieces of that. like a contact page, an about us page, if you're going to rebuild that way, rather than using the starter template, which is going to overwrite the whole site or overwrite the whole customizer settings. So like the colors are all set by this, the fonts are set like by this as well. So, but that's basically starter sites. Since
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Since we got into the design library, let's get to, oh, see, it's got all of these in this page. So I'm going to delete those real quick. This design library is really cool. This has a test cloud on it. Ignore that one. We have tons of different sections available. So if you needed something like a form, let's say you need a contact form with a Google map, we have a Google map block as part of Cadence blocks. Let's say you wanted to do a pricing table. There's a few of those that are free, and then obviously some pro ones here as well. So if you wanted to do that, you could pull from our design library. The starter packs, you'll have to, I would go on the Cadence site and figure out which starter you want to use and what pages you want to use, and then go find them through here. And then we have these wireframes. Excuse me, sip of water. And these wireframes are kind of cool. I used this one on my site. I don't know how well it ended up looking, but the wireframes are really fun too. You can recolorize these so that matches your site. But there's tons of different things just to get you started. So getting started, if you're just getting started with WordPress, I would go with Cadence, because this is going to give you all of the tools that you need in order to build out a site the way you want it to look. Tons of fun happening.
And even if you're not just getting started with WordPress, but you need to spin up a site real fast,
that's it.
Is amazing. And I've had to do that several times this year, and Cadence saved my butt.
I feel you. It was, I actually, when we first started talking about me marketing with Cadence, I was like, okay, well, I better use it. My site needs a refresh. And I'll tell you what, it's really hard marketing yourself when you're building a site for yourself. And it's like, who am I? What I'm do tons of different things, but no, you have to like decide what is the name and the face that you're going to put with your personal brand. Like, who are you? Decide, right? And it's really hard. The cool thing about Cadence is when I started building out, I think it was, geez, which one did I use? I used the real estate site. And just by the way, I'm going to try to find the Cadence starter. Oh, see, I have it right there because I'm looking at them all the time. The real estate one. This one, was the one that I used for my own personal site. I loved the layout. I could envision like a picture of myself speaking. Let me have a picture of myself there. I could envision, I have to delete that section. It gave me a framework where I could understand who I was and what I was trying to present, but it also forced me to really decide who am I? And all of us need to do that with our website. All of us need to do that with our businesses. All of us need to help people that we're helping build sites for. Who are you? What's your statement? Like in a word, what are you giving to the world? What is your brand statement? And you have to tell that story. The great thing about Cadence is it really helped me define that for myself. And I'm like, if this could help me do this for myself, what can it do for a business that already has a brand strategy? What can it do for somebody who's just getting started and doesn't even really know who their target market is yet? There are so many different facets of what Cadence can do that allowed me to do that. Blank page, I can't do it. I've got to take a framework from someone else and then really take a look in the mirror and decide what is it that I'm trying to say. And we all need to do that with our businesses. And the great thing about Cadence is it really helped me do that because of the thought and the strategy that's been put into all of these starter templates. So I think that's incredibly powerful. Other things that I really want to show you guys before I get to off into the weeds. I really want to show you custom post types. This might seem like, I don't know, Back in the day when I was just coding sites, yeah, I could build out a database, no problem. But when people started saying custom post types to me in WordPress, I'm just like, yeah, okay, whatever. So have somebody else code it up. I don't know. Cadence made custom post types make sense to me. So what I did when I started playing with this is, well, first we did like a staff directory. We took all of our real estate people on that real estate starter template and made a staff directory. Then I'm like, this long running joke with Sally's cat blog from previous incarnations of my WordPress life, that nobody wants to hack Sally's cat blog, right? But they do. They want to get into everybody's blog. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to build a cat database for Sally's cat blog. And it was so funny to me, I had to do it. So what I ended up doing using custom fields, advanced custom fields, is I created favorite cats for Sally because Sally had to do something. So we had a cat name. We basically created all of these different fields in custom post, advanced custom fields, custom post type here. And then the cool thing was, once we had that set, we see over here, we have favorite cats. That's basically this here that's been registered in the backend of WordPress. We have all of our favorite cats here. And then if you went to this without a template, you would just see like the cat name. You would see anything that was registered to normal WordPress post types. The cool thing with Cadence is we were able to create a, under Cadence Elements, we were able to create a favorite cat template. And we're just building out one single template. We did it here for a kitten. The Clever Kitten is one of those entries. And we just chose, I can't, okay, Zoom, you need to move out of the way. Over here, I gotta find, there it is. Okay. Nope. Element, oh, preview settings, there it is. So we choose which one we're going to use as our preview post. So this is all of the entries of those favorite cats. You can select whichever one you want and say that's going to be the one that we're going to, I have to reload this, don't I? Okay, anyway, you choose which one that it's defaulting, I'd have to save it. You choose which one you're going to use as kind of like your model. And then you are able to go through wherever you see this dynamic content, you can go through and start populating content. I am just going to do this really quickly for, let's pull this back in. We're going to remove the advanced text. And we are going to add something above this, insert before. And then I like doing the slash. And we are going to go through our content. And we're going to find our post title. Is that one we had, or did we have it? We'll do a post custom field. And we're going to take our cat name and put that there instead. So this is little Kaylee. So we're pulling in, we have that same thing down here. We can change that back to the post title if we want to do that. But this is a cadence block here, this advanced text, and it is pulling in dynamically from that custom post type that we set up for the favorite cat. I have a whole video on how I built all of this out, which I can put into the slide chat somewhere. I'll put that there. But basically, you think up whatever content that's easily put into a database, and cadence blocks, cadence elements, templates can unlock all of that. And then another cool thing is you can do conditional content. So like this adopt me link, we're taking the adoption link. So each cat has a different adoption link and it's automatically populated. So when you start going to look at all of those favorite cats and you take a look at them, they have completely dynamic content. So that kind of looks like what we were just looking at. But if you look at one of these other ones, it looks a little bit different background because you can set the background dynamically. The content is all different. There's no button there because there was no link. But here we see that there is a link. So that button is there. Incredibly powerful dynamic content. There's a lot to this. I feel like I just opened up way too many questions because it's a big deal to be able to do dynamic content, but Cadence makes it super, super easy. Let's see. Beyond dynamic content, let's ShopKit. ShopKit is like taking dynamic content and applying it to your WordPress or to your WooCommerce products. So right now, if you have a WooCommerce site and you have, let's see, do we have products on this one? I am not sure if we've entered products. Oh, we do. If you have products here, this is again, another starter template. We have products and we have just basically the standard layout from WooCommerce. If I wanted to change this, and maybe I wanted to just change it for this particular product, or I want to change it for all of the products, that is something that ShopKit does. So in ShopKit, you have Woo templates, and I haven't set any of them up, but if we add one, let's say we want to do it just for a single product. There's actually some examples here that we can choose from. And you see it's pulling in all of your content there. And the cool thing with this is that you can say, okay, I just want this to apply to the Voyager hiking boot, or I want to apply it to all of my products. There's tons of different things that you can do here. And that's not all that, let's see if I can publish this and then go view it. So this is the Voyager hiking boot. And we can view that. And it doesn't look the same. There must be a setting that I'm not doing. But anyway, that's basically what ShopKit will do. Did I not apply it? Visible to all users. There are probably settings that I did not set. Live demo, here we are. Display settings, show on single product, and then select product. You can decide if you want to do it by a group, an author, individually. This is what I did not do. So then I can update that and then go to my products and go to the Voyager hiking boot. And it looks a little bit different now. And there's tons of tweaks that you can do. The cool thing with ShopKit is all of that dynamic templating opens up the power of blocks to your product pages, something that WooCommerce doesn't have at the moment, but you can pull in all of your Cadence blocks into those templates. You set up one template and it applies everywhere.
Okay, so I have another question, Kathy.
Yeah.
So my site, I sell drop spindles, which are little wooden gadgets that spinners use. And I might make 15 to 20 new ones a month. So I go in and I manually edit each page, and it's all in WooCommerce. Is this something where I would do this all in a spreadsheet or whatever, and then suck the content in with the spreadsheet? How does this work? That's where that's where you've lost me. You keep saying you suck the information in. Where am I sucking the information in from?
From WooCommerce, from your product listings. So you have all of your product. So if I go into WooCommerce products and I go to edit, this is all of the data that's associated with the product. So you still, if you're using WooCommerce right now, you have all of your information, your inventory, shipping, all of the information that is associated with your product, the categories, everything that you have assigned to it. What Cadence ShopKit is doing is that it is basically allowing you to break free of the standard WooCommerce templates. So right now, if you have a product, it looks a certain way.
Right.
If you want to change the way that looks on the front end, ShopKit with the Woo templates does that. So you can change the way.
So I can get past the 500 by 500 pixel product image and things like that.
Yes.
Okay.
And no problem. And in that resource slide that I have, one of those YouTube videos down there is Ben basically going through ShopKit and basically talking about like some of the better layouts that he's seen with other maybe even non-WordPress WooCommerce sites, looking at like how Amazon does things, looking at some other vendors that do things really well and how they showcase their products. And what ShopKit does is it breaks you free of having to display things in certain ways. If you go to just the Cadence site, and if you want like a full overview of everything that ShopKit does, I think the product layouts is the most powerful thing and the thing that I'm most excited about seeing. Being able to break out how things are displayed is really powerful. The variation swatches, galleries for the variations, all of that kind of stuff that's really complicated with WooCommerce now are things that you can do. The reviews, being able to put reviews higher up on the page, being able to create reviews that can be voted on by your community. So like, you know, if a review really makes a lot of sense, that kind of bubbles up to the top. Sizing charts, global tabs, adding a brand, like if you are doing drop shipping and you want to say, oh, okay, well, I got Nike stuff, and the brand is important to that particular product, something that you can highlight there. Affiliate product options, variation price control, all of those types of things. This is all with the new ShopKit 2.0 that just came out a couple of months ago and has been just very well received by the community. So definitely something that you should take a look at. Now I wanted to kind of give an overview of just some blocks. Let's just take a look at some blocks when you're starting out. And basically, I want to give an overview of, for those of you who have just been using the classic editor, or those of you who are new to WordPress, this might be boring to some of you who have really gotten into some of the cool things blocks can do, but I wanted to kind of give you a quick overview. If you're starting out, this list view is really super helpful because it's going to, let me show you on a page that's kind of more built out. Let's go to one of these pages. The About Us. Okay, so this has a bunch of content on it. And let's say you're going and you're editing a page and you're like, I'm not even sure where this is or what's going on, but I want to move this particular block someplace else, something like that. This list view shows you where everything is. Cadence is anything that's Cadence related is going to be in blue. So when you're going to add a new block, for example, the Cadence blocks, if you have it installed, they'll show up here and they're in blue. And so these blocks are things that are sort of more extended beyond the standard Gutenberg blocks, but you can still add one of the Gutenberg blocks in here. So you can still use paragraph, heading. I'm always using heading just because I'm habitually, I just hit that / and H and I'm in the heading and I forget to use advanced text all the time. You can, but the great thing about using blocks is, let's say I wanted to use something that Generate Blocks has, and I wanted to use that on this particular site. I could do that. Let's say I wanted to build out a separate page that I really did want to use Elementor on. I could have a page that's all Elementor, and the rest of my site can be using all of the various blocks. The blocks world, though, gives you so much flexibility, and I see people building out sites that are even better looking than some of the Elementor sites using blocks, just because people are now getting into all of this. So some of the key blocks, Google Maps, Lottie animations are really fun. If you haven't looked at Lottie animations, they're really cool. The advanced button, also something, anything that is a Cadence block, if you have Cadence Pro installed, you can use dynamic content with any of these. If you're building out like a template, or let's say you wanted to build out a section that you wanted to be included on, 5 pages, and you wanted to do that, you could use Cadence Elements to build out a content section that specifically gets included on some pages. Let's see. Oh, my own site, I did that. I can show you what I did there. So like on my blog, I wanted to, just on the bottom of every blog, I didn't want to have to go edit every single one. This get notified if you want to keep in touch with me, that type of thing. I created a section and then just said, hey, Cadence, include this at the bottom of every blog post. And super easy to do. I didn't have to update every single blog post to include that. Just used Cadence to do that. So that's, and you would find that under the, let's see, that's, again, under elements. We talked about the templates, but you can also do sections. So the templates would be something that you would assign a template to multiple custom post types or to all of your blog posts, or you can even create archives to be in a certain way. But you can also create a content section. So you're just using blocks to do this. And so you can create a row layout. And then maybe you want to put a section within that row layout that we could then, let's see, this is where the list view comes in handy. And then we wanted to stylize that particular block. Let's say we wanted it to have a background color like that. And then let's say we wanted to put in dynamic content in there. We could do that and pull in something dynamically, a background image dynamically. Just tons of things that you can do. Create a content section, and then you go over to Cadence Elements, and then you say where the placement is going to be. So let's say we want it to be before the header or after the header, or maybe you want to replace the whole header. We could put content before the content, after content. That's probably what I used on my blog post. I can't remember at the moment, but let's say we want to do that again. And then we say that we want it to be only on the blog page. So that's probably what I did. And then you can also exclude settings and say, we don't want it to be on, like if we wanted to go find a singular blog post, it is the rule. In a single post, we can then go find an individual post and say we want to exclude it from a singular blog post. Like, okay, this one, we don't want it on at all. So we can exclude things that way, single posts, individual, or you can obviously use groups for specific authors, that kind of thing. Again, this is kind of going into more of the dynamic things that Cadence can do. But I think you're seeing a pattern here. If you're just getting started, Cadence can help you. If you've been using the web for a long time and building sites for a really long time, Cadence can help you. There are so many things that Cadence can do that if you're going to immerse yourself into any ecosphere, any ecosystem that helps you build sites, I'm going to say go with Cadence just because there's so much there. And then the other thing that I really wanted to point out too, for people who, let's see, that's on the Cadence site itself. We don't want to mess with that. We want to go to the Cadence Cloud Library. So this is a plugin that is installed here. The Cadence Cloud plugin that opens up this cloud library. So we have a number of different, basically groups of blocks. So this is a donation form that we were playing around with, but it's really just a contact form, but we're calling it a donation form. And we want this to be available everywhere for all of the sites that we're developing. You can create this, put this on a cloud library, and then basically you have these cloud settings here, and you have a connection URL. So any other site that wants to use those forms that we're setting up just needs this connection URL and this access key. And the place that you end up putting that is where you saw those design libraries. So basically on any post, you go to a design library, you click the plus sign and you add that connection URL and that access key. And you can then access everything that is saved in that cloud library. So you would do that not on this particular site. This is the site. This is the cloud library site where we're going to have all of these different snippets of code available. And then another site someplace else, you want to be able to give access to this. You can basically use the access key and that connection URL and do that. Now, the cool thing, I just want to show off Jake. Jake is my buddy. Jake is doing so much cool stuff. Jake is doing start blogging blocks. He's got 70 free wireframing blocks and all of this. He's doing this. He's basically got a Cadence Cloud set up, and he takes all of these cool things. And so like here, his affiliate collection, his page building collection, and he is offering those off to anybody who wants to use them. And the cool thing is when you connect to his cloud and you pull all of those things in to your site, it inherits from your site. So you get all of the customizer settings, the colors, everything. You're not using Jake's colors. It imports in using the site colors. So really, really cool way for a designer to take something with Cadence, take his own creativity and put those things together. And look at what he's done. He's created an entire business doing all of this. And one cool thing that he's just added, I don't know if I can find it. I don't know his site as well as Jake does, but Michelle actually came up with this idea of doing sort of a link tree replacement. And I'm like, oh, cool. I have to let all of the Cadence community know about this. So we wrote a blog post about doing a link tree replacement using Cadence blocks, because basically it's just, blocks. And Jake saw it and he's like, I'm going to create a whole collection of them and offer them on my cloud for everyone to use. So Michelle's creativity, me being a loudmouth, and then Jake's creativity building upon that, it became sort of this perfect storm of creating that. So it's kind of cool. Go sign up for Jake's, there's tons of free things. So you can just put your name and email in there. He sends you an access key and you can see all of the cool things he's done. And then I would challenge you that if you've done this, and you are a designer and you are creative, use Cadence Cloud to build your business too. I think that's so cool. And last thing I wanted to show is with the child theme builder plugin, which comes in the full bundle. If you did buy the full bundle, you can build child themes based on Cadence. And this is a business of, let's see if I find her themes. All of these are based on Cadence. So she's selling a couple $100 a pop, but people are looking for this kind of stuff. They are looking for innovative ways to get sites up quickly. And these are very specific themes. They're using the same type of templating system that we're using for our starter templates. You get like basically a whole site kind of decked out, ready to go. But because it's much more exclusive, you're getting something that you probably wouldn't have to tweak and make your own quite so much. So yeah, no matter where you are in the world of building Cadence or building websites, Cadence has got you covered. If you're looking to build a business off of WordPress, the child theme, the Cadence Cloud and all of those block libraries, there's so much you can do. So there are some resources in in that slide on the resource section. The one thing I would want to highlight is check out the Facebook group. There's over 9,100 people in there now, and it's extremely active. 10 people at least joining every single day. People asking questions from, I don't know what I did to my header, to how do I build this business? Tons of different people who are showcasing what they're doing with the Cadence Cloud and doing their own theme packages. This whole thing that I'm going to be calling the Cadence Marketplace, and I'm going to put it up on the Cadence site where I can showcase all of the cool things people are doing. The thing I love about WordPress is it empowers all of you to do cool things. And the thing I love about Cadence is it really empowers people to do cool things. So with that, I talked too much, didn't I?
Not at all.
I'm open for questions.
I did put the link to the Facebook group in the chat. So if you're interested in joining there, you can click right through. And I did put the link to my link tree type thing on there too, which I want to do so much more with it, because it's like I look at other people's now and I'm like, oh, it looks so boring, but I'm gonna make it prettier. But you can get ideas from there too. And one of the things that I like about using Cadence for making your own link tree is, number one, you get the traffic, right? So if you're interested in building that kind of traffic to your site, it's not going to Linktree and then to you, you're getting that direct traffic. The other thing I like about it is, well, there's several things. The second thing I like about it is, if Linktree just decides tomorrow that they don't do free anymore and you have to pay, or they decide tomorrow that they're getting bought out by somebody else and they're closing the doors or whatever, you haven't lost your traffic, right? So people know where to find you because you still have your site. And then the third thing I like is you're not beholden to their design. So if you look at mine, I put a WS form on the right-hand side so that you can fill out a form to be able to contact me. And that comes straight through to my email. And because I'm using WS form as opposed to something else, I have all of those saved in the back end, all those entries. So you can do so much more when you build your own than when you're using something that somebody else created. So, and then I DM'd it over to Kathy, like, look what I did. And the rest is history, because we love working together and sharing those things.
I love it. You inspired so many people with that. And I still get people in the Cadence because I wrote the blog post and showed what you did. And then I built one for my dog. My dog had to have his own Linktree page. Have some fun with the animals, right? And then, and the rest is history. It took me forever to build out my Linktree page, but everybody else doing a good job. Yeah, Michelle is the inspiration of WordPress.
I don't know about that, but one of the things that you missed in the just a little jokey, but you missed in the chat because you were talking, is the site for the cats, that you built a catabase instead of a database. Sorry, I'll see myself out now.
Oh my gosh, I feel like I missed out. Oh my gosh, like I should have done that.
Make a note.
Oh, that's so good.
I can still go edit the YouTube description. There's a YouTube video I did, and basically showed step by step from setting up the custom post type to setting up each field, and went through all of it. And I could still edit the description to add that.
I did have somebody
who do I give credit to that? Who came up with that?
It was me.
Was it you? Okay. Again,
I don't need credit.
You're on a roll.
I don't need credit.
Kathy, what's your last name and how do we contact you?
Yeah. My last name is Zant, Z as in zebra, A-N-T. It's on the last page of that slide. You can write me at Kathy@Zant.com if that's always the easiest. Or you can write me at Kathy@CadenceWP.com. Follow me on the socials. I'm Kathy Zant everywhere. If there's another Kathy Zant, there actually is a Kathy Zant. I feel bad for her because I've stolen all of the socials. And Cadence WP on social everywhere pretty much too. So just follow me anywhere. And please, especially with if you're looking to do anything with dynamic content, that's kind of my jam, because it's why I got into WordPress to begin with. I got into web development first, writing HTML, but the thing that really got me excited was separating content from design, because I was redesigning my blog back in the day all the time. And I was using something called movable type. And it was just like, oh my gosh, I have to rewrite all of these HTML pages. This is ridiculous. Like, I want something in a database. I want my design over here. And WordPress did that. And, now we're going into full site editing, which I think is going to be useful for a lot of different things, especially like landing pages and stuff like that. But I really love the fact that we still have custom post types. We still have the ability to separate design from content. So when we do go through another iteration, there was somebody, Dan over at Post Status, was looking at a bunch of legacy content. And he's like, I got to update everything. And then I'm like, I don't think so. Let's do it this way. And showed him what to do with Cadence. And he kind of figured it out, but I just pointed him at a couple of tutorials and showed him what to do. And he just made it happen, and it saved him a ton of work. So the more you can have content in one place and design in another, if you're looking at the longevity of a site, you want to have that so that your site can when Google comes out and says, okay, mobile first, everything's got to be mobile first, that boom, I can change that. Or Google comes out, and says Core Web Vitals, and you can go and change it in one place, and you're riding the wave, because there's always going to be standards changes. There's always going to be new ways of doing things. And you want to make sure that your content is ready to go along for the ride, and that you don't have to go back in and update every post. No, not going to do it. Not going to do it.
Amy, I will get to you in just a second. Amy raised her hand. But I also wanted, let's see, am I seeing Amy on the screen anymore? She must be there somewhere. Somebody DM'd me to say, are you doing any other? She is. Hi, Amy. Like, you moved off of the different part of my screen and I couldn't find you anymore. I apologize. Zoom does that. They reorganize people all the time and I get lost. Ask me if there are classes to learn how to use Cadence. And if not classes, do you have a YouTube channel, things like that? Some resources that you might be able to share out later. People can maybe put them out on Twitter. People can find them there, or you can DM them to me and I will share them with the group, of course.
Yeah, our YouTube channel is really one of the cool things. Before I started working with Cadence, Adam Preiser from WP Crafter is very involved with Ben and made videos. So a ton of the older videos on the Cadence channel were all made by Adam at WP Crafter, and he's got a ton on his channel too. We're really lucky that there are a lot of really people who are way smarter than me are our affiliates, and they make tons of great videos. The other cool thing to do is just get really involved in that Cadence group on Facebook, because you have a question, you're just getting started, go experiment and play, and then ask questions, because there's tons of people who will answer you there. And then the other great thing that is just heartens my soul is that the Cadence support team, whether you're using free or paid, they are incredibly powerful and just go above and beyond. Because when you're dealing with a theme, there's plugin conflicts, they help resolve those types of things. Things that are beyond like just Cadence blocks, they help resolve those types of things too. I don't know, should I use this plugin for WooCommerce or that plugin for my checkout, blah, blah, whatever. They help you figure that kind of stuff out too. So it's a very, very welcoming community that brings you up to speed on what are the best solutions available for the particular problems that you're dealing with. And it's just great to see.
Absolutely. Amy, I've kept you waiting long enough.
We get spoiled with the great community around so many of the WordPress things. But a thought I was having, Kathy, when you were explaining about, if you need to adapt your whole site, move the content, change out the whole structure, Cadence makes a lot of sense. Something like Generate is really similar in its setup. And I know there are a lot of people who are very married to the Divi world. Like, there are diehard Divi people who love it and have their reasons. But I think if you're just getting started, I always remember what I've heard many times over, that if you ever want to move off of Divi, it's not really the class of builder, let's say, where that's easy for you, because it's all shortcodes and you're kind of left with shortcode soup instead of your actual content. So I think if you're just getting started, that's one of the things you can kind of look at, is thinking longevity.
Yeah, I'm still really trying to
these lighter solutions that are working around your content.
Yeah, I'm still trying to. My husband's site, he was on Divi, and then we migrated him over to Elementor, which I had to do. I think I have PTSD from doing that. And because he was just starting to have a hard time with Divi, it was getting too complicated for him. And I'm like, okay, well, everybody's had on Elementor now. Let's see if you can handle that. And I still have he's not doing it anymore. So I have to migrate, and I've migrated most of his site off of Elementor over to Cadence, but there's a couple of pages that are really intricate, and it's not like let's just turn off Elementor. Like, no, I have to start a page, like I think his about page or his testimonials page is just crazy. And I have to start a new page and then copy stuff over. Right. And that's the only way I can do it.
Right. And not to ding any of these solutions, because like we're lucky we have all these choices and a lot of them are just so great. If you're somebody who has a ton of content, or you anticipate you like changing every year, like maybe you're a person who buys a new car every year, then don't make it harder for yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, for me, moving over to Cadence was a performance thing, and also licensing. Like, do I really want to pay for an Elementor license for like 2 or 3 sites that I actively manage now? And I got a couple more people that I help out that I need to, because I'm paying for the license and I don't really want to. It's like, hey, everybody, let's go to Cadence. It's faster anyway. So
And when
it's
we work here, we get licenses for free.
yeah. Yep. So yeah, and to me, and also I work with Ben. I know Ben. I have really gotten to know him over the past almost year of working with him. And software to me is a lot about trust. And do you trust the team behind that? I need to know whose code is coming into my digital homes on the web. I need to know the people behind it. And getting to work with Ben has been one of the greatest gifts of my life. He is like salt of the earth, like have all of my sites. Like I trust him because I know how he makes decisions. I know how he thinks about things. I know what the roadmap is in his mind of where he's taking Cadence, and the roadmap that he puts into the changelog on the public GitHub. He's very open. He's building in an open way, and it's where I want to solidify my digital home. It's either that or I'm going to start coding everything myself, and nobody wants that. So Ben is really just an awesome human. Oh, you're muted, Michelle.
Yep, I just realized that. I just spent some time with him over at WordCamp US. He's absolutely a delightful person. Marianne has her hand up. I don't know if she's got a question or comment, but
yeah, I just wanted to point out to in that vein about Ben, in that the accessibility, because that is a huge focus of my job. And if you're looking to if you want to support and make sure that you're getting a site that's outputting accessible code, Cadence, I just wanted to say Cadence has a really, has done a really good job with making sure that that's part of what they do. And I've had people get super excited about Oxygen and Divi, but their code is not fully accessible. And if that's important to you, which in my line of work, it should be, because, you don't want a lawsuit. And, but other than that, just coding to those standards and knowing that what you're going to get is going to get you almost there. You might have to do a little bit of tweaking here and there, but the commitment to making sure that their code is accessible, Cadence ticks all the boxes.
Yeah, and Ben puts a high priority on it. Like when the Lottie Black came out, someone said, well, what about accessibility? And I said, what about accessibility? What do you see? And they said, well, how do we put an ARIA label on it? And I'm like, oh, right. That immediately within hours, Ben had it on there.
Yeah,
so
right.
It's
right.
that kind of responsiveness to the needs of the community, to the needs of accessibility. That's just something you want to see in your devs. You want to make sure that they are that requests for accessibility are handled like the most important bug fixes out there, and that's how they handle it. And just that philosophy of development is just so encouraging and refreshing. So
it is.
And I have a puppy fighting in the background. So
Lottie blocks have been mentioned a couple, 2 or 3 times tonight. What are they, or what is it?
I have, hold on a second. If you can hear, there's a puppy. The puppy's attacking the older dog.
oh no.
All right, I threw a toy at him. Okay, so animations on a website are kind of heavy, right? If you want an animated GIF, you can be well over a megabyte. Let's see, Lottie files. If I can remember the exact, I think it's just Lottie files, maybe. Yeah, Lottie files. I'll put this in the chat. These are, okay, so it was developed by Airbnb. These are very lightweight animations that you can use on any site. And there's a ton of these. If you go into, maybe I should just share my screen and show you guys this stuff. Lottie files are just very, very lightweight animations. And you're gonna just, let's see, they're free, ready to use animations. And a lot of these are contributed by the community. So there might be some that are less lightweight than others, but on a whole, these are extremely lightweight. Look at these eyeballs. Those are crazy. So anyway, you can, and on here, you can change the background color on them. You can like set them up however you want them to be. Use a different color palette. I haven't done this in a while, so maybe it was, go away. Okay, so basically you can customize this however you want, and then you can download the Lottie JSON file. And then let's say, I'll just do this. Oh, shoot, you know, I'm already have an account. So you can just basically download this Lottie file. And let's say we want to add it to a page. I don't even know where it's going to go. Oh, I can do that. I forgot about that. So let's say we want to use this pyramid. You can just copy this, this URL, and you can just pop it in here as an animation, as the remote URL. There's the ARIA label. So we'll just say pyramid. I don't know where it populated it. Where did I go? Oh, there it is. So there's that file. It's just pulling it in. And these are extremely lightweight animations that can draw attention to whatever you're trying to do on the web. So let's say you wanted a contact form, or gosh, there's so many, or a contact link, and you can add links over these. You can put it in a section block and add a link on the section block. Tons of different options available here. Some of the more popular ones. So it's a way to add motion to your site. Like if you wanted something you're available on the App Store, just a slight animation to draw attention to it, that type of thing. Now with any animation, you don't want to like load your whole site with tons of animations, but if you want to draw attention to something or engage the user, you can do that. If you go to like, I think a couple of the Elementor pages that I was looking at had a ton of different types of animation on it as you scroll. That really added some spice to viewing the page. So Lottie animations basically are very lightweight animations, and that Lottie file site is super fun to play with.
Thank you.
I'm eating my dinner of crackers while I'm listening. Other questions, other ideas, other things people want to ask Kathy while we have her? And the puppy.
The puppy.
What kind of puppy is that?
Oh, I love it.
It's a dachshund. This is Milo. Look,
He's
Milo,
so
you're on
cute.
stage.
Milo.
He's 4 months old, and
Oh.
he's most of the time he sleeps, but then when he's awake, he's so awake. Should have put him upstairs, but he was asleep before, so
I love the pictures you share of him.
he's
That's
crazy.
awesome.
He's so much fun though. So
And if you have questions, you can ask other questions besides Cadence. Kathy
One
is,
quick question I have. In the beginning, I was very distracted. I apologize for all my unmutes. But you posted the presentation on chat and I didn't see it when I got home.
oh
Is it still out there or can I get it somehow?
yeah, here, I can copy it into
Thank
chat
you so
again,
much.
so you've got it.
Sorry for my
And-
distractions.
Yeah, no problem. And if you need anything at all, or if like you're trying to do something in Cadence and something's not making sense, just write to me and I'm more than happy to assist. Because when I help you, it actually makes me a better marketer. Like even your question you might think is not, worthy of being answered. It might help somebody else. If I answer a question for you, I might be able to take that and add it to our documentation or take that and write a blog post about it. So don't ever feel like asking me a question is out of scope. Helping you helps everyone, if you know what I mean. And
That's
if
my
I don't know the
philosophy
answer,
too. Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
that because I do.
and if I don't have the answer, that means I need to get educated, and then me getting educated makes me more helpful to other people. So
And Kathy knows a lot about a lot with WordPress. As she said at the beginning, I don't know if you heard it, but she tore it all apart to put it back together again. So she knows a lot more about it than I do.
and then it updated and I was like, oh, that was brilliant, just brilliant.
But that was also what we call a learning experience.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I was building PHP MySQL sites before WordPress. And so I was like, yeah, I'll just fix it, whatever, because that's what I was doing. I was maintaining, I wrote my own shopping cart. I wrote my own blogging platform just for myself. Never thought to like, hey, let's make a product and sell this. I never felt in my youth confident in my coding abilities. And then I got like older and I was like, oh, I was not that bad. Hey, look at how fast my cart loads. I like loaded up because I still have like all my old code from back in the day, and I loaded it up on a site and I was like, wow, this is snappy. I was not that bad.
That's awesome.
Obviously it didn't do that much, but
Well, I had the privilege of, well, I built my own website, but it's ridiculous. There's so many things I'd like to do with it. I have the privilege of working with 2 clients that I can play around with their websites and edit and do things. So I'm excited to be part of this group and be able to participate in this. So thank you so much. I'm thrilled to meet you guys, all of you, and you're local too.
Someday we'll go back to being in person too.
Hey, that's awesome.
We tried this summer, but it didn't quite work. So maybe in the new year. Let's do that. But we usually reserve the second part or the last part of our meeting for just open questions, ideas, things. They don't have to be related to the topic, but they can be. And so if you have any questions, now's the time.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
How can you just give us tell us how WordCamp US was?
In a word, it was awesome.
Yeah.
It really was. It was much smaller than in the past. So 650 tickets versus 2,500 tickets. So it was a much smaller venue, which actually meant that you got to meet people kind of deeper. So you saw the same people a little more frequently than you do when you're in a room full of, almost 3,000 people. And so you got to have more conversations and deeper conversations and get to know people a little bit. You can tell by my voice that I talked a lot and over crowds and crowded spaces. It was definitely a week full of parties. And some of those parties were a lot of fun, and that's where I got to know people that I hadn't met before. And it was pretty amazing experience. We had a lot of really good talks. Those will be up on WordPress TV shortly if they aren't already. The Q&A with Matt Mullenweg is already up on YouTube if you're interested in that. So there were a lot of questions up there about the ecosystem, about the core software. There was a lot of questions about the community. And so if you're interested in seeing what he had to say about all of that, you can find that on YouTube. I'll share that link out on my Twitter in case anybody's interested. You can follow me at Michelle Ames, but it was good. It was really good. It was hot. We got the tail end of a hurricane when we were there, so it rained a lot, which was interesting. But overall it was really good. And next year it's moving into the end of August, and it will be in National Harbor, Maryland. So it'll be back on the East Coast for us East Coasters. So
cool.
a little bit closer. So it's actually driving distance if you like to drive, but it's also flying distance for those of us whose company will pay for that. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, road trip, exactly.
Is that Baltimore?
It is outside of Baltimore, it's outside of DC, so it's kind of in that general area.
Uh-huh. Cool.
I haven't looked at a map, but people who live in the DC area are telling me it's very close to them. So
Okay, cool.
that's pretty cool. Yeah. And I'm hoping it'll be a bigger event again, so we can bring more people. I know so many people were disappointed that they didn't get tickets. Tickets for us sold out in, I think it was like 70 minutes. Like it literally was less than an hour and a half and all the tickets were gone.
Wow.
It was crazy. It really was.
Where was it?
It was in San Diego, California. So it was good. It was fun. I had a lot of fun. Met a lot of people, deepened a lot of relationships. Got to meet a lot of my teammates from Stellar in person who I'd only met online before. So that was fun too. And had some really good, deep conversations with people on my own team. And so, you know, it was a good team building exercise for those of us who were able to go. Of course, we couldn't send everybody because we're a big company and we have more than 650 in our company. That wouldn't work. But those of us who were in the marketing team and who were either speakers or organizers for WordCamp US were able to go. And yeah, those are mountaintop type experiences WordCamps are. So if you get a chance to go to a local one, if you get a chance to go to a flagship event like WordCamp Europe, US, Asia, any of those kinds of things, if you can go, I always suggest that you do, because you just really get more ingrained in the community. Kathy, can you put the link to open the film in there so people can get an idea if they've never been part of that? So Kathy was part of making a film called Open. It's a short film about the WordPress community. And she's just such a maverick in her space. So that's right, Open that film. So if you want to learn a little bit more about community, if you have never been to a WordCamp before, that's a really good place to start. Watch that. I think did you say 13 minutes? Something like that?
Yeah, it's about 13 minutes.
Yeah, so
Didn't know what it was going to be when we first start filming it, like what kind of angle it was going to be, but once we interviewed Matt, it was like, all right, this is what it's going to be.
yeah,
So,
exactly. So yeah, those are really just great opportunities. A lot of you have been to WordCamp Rochester if you live here. WordCamp Buffalo is supposed to be coming up on October 22nd. Still nailing down the venue. We're having a little bit of issue with Automatic and getting our WordPress and getting our insurance lined up, but we're hoping that's going to go forward October 22nd. And yeah, just a lot of really good things happening. So thanks, Marianne. That was a great question because it was a great time. And I don't know how I could really sum it up succinctly, which obviously I didn't, but
well, thank you. That was great.
sure, of course. My favorite, I think I said this at the beginning, but my favorite part of the whole weekend was when Matt Mullenweg said during the Q&A that I was the busiest woman in WordPress.
That's so great.
That made me
You
laugh.
really are, Michelle.
It
We're
was
so
a lot of
lucky to have you.
It was definitely a fun moment. I gave him one of my personalized Wapoo stickers and he took a selfie with me with his phone. And I'm like, wait, I didn't get a selfie with Matt Mullenweg because he used his phone instead of mine. So I have to message him on Slack and ask him if I can have a copy of that. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, so other questions about anything WordPress related at all?
Just in general, we upgraded to green light this week, and is it fast?
I've heard. I wish we had it out here.
It's
Yeah,
really-
it's so close, right?
It is really unbelievable. I mean, I think I had 300 down before and 20 up or something like that. I'm 496 down and 496 up.
Now, where are you, Jim?
Penfield.
Okay. Yeah, there's that line just east of us.
I was gonna say, I don't think it's on the west side yet. But
No, it's not.
it's
So
definitely
then-
not in Hilton. I know that much.
So I've been trying to get my Roadrunner account forwarded because I want to shut it down. And I will say I called tech support this morning, and I got this woman down in Kentucky, and once she realized what I was trying to accomplish, she was very helpful and setting up a forward, so all my emails and Kathy's emails get forwarded to our Gmail accounts, because we want to shut our Roadrunner account down this week, but I don't know. I haven't figured out what they'll charge me to keep my forwarding my emails or how to even go ask them for that. Does anybody experience that?
Most of the time, I think they only let you keep it for a short while and then you're out of luck.
Right.
So,
I heard it was like 90 days, but
yeah, I'm not sure. I did, for anybody who's not already in our Facebook group, you don't have to live in Rochester to be part of our Facebook group. We will have helpful humans in that group. So I just put the link there. That's our Rochester WordPress meetup group. If you follow us on meetup.com, you'll see where our next meetups are coming from also. I can't remember, I think it's next month, but it might be November that I have Christian Raber from WP Chill coming on to talk about galleries, photo galleries. He's got a great photo gallery plugin called Modula. And one of those months he's going to come in and demonstrate that for us. But he's coming in, he's going to be Skyping in, or not Skyping, Zooming in from Romania. So it's going to be a very late night for him. But he was looking forward to being able to do that with us. And I'll keep working on getting more fun and exciting things in our meetup schedule for going forward. If you have ideas, if you have people you'd like me to try to reach out to get to come in and talk to us, I'd be happy to do that. I'm gonna try to get Lindsay Miller from Content Journey also to come in and talk to us about blogging and how to plan out the content for your blog, and also how to outsource it if that's something that you'd like to do. Personal blogs, we never outsource that, but business blogs, oftentimes writing about what we do is not our forte, and having somebody come in and do that for us is often a blessing. So I'm going to see if Lindsay's in Oklahoma, so she's just an hour behind us. See if she can come do that one of these nights too. So if you have other ideas, things you want to hear, people you'd like to hear speak, or topics or plugins you'd like to see demonstrated, I do know a lot of people in WordPress, and I'd be happy to reach out to them.
Thanks, Michelle.
My pleasure.
Just a few people.
Just a couple.
Michelle just
Just a
knows
few
just
people,
a few
right?
people.
Thank
I
you,
had-
Kathy. That was so great.
Thank you so much,
Oh,
Kathy.
thank you. Thanks so much for having me. And it was a lot of fun meeting all of you, and always cool.
great.
I can't wait to come back to Rochester.
I know we can't wait to have you, and I do appreciate you taking your evening time to be with us tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. It was fun.
I'll send you some Slack tacos later.
I had,
Thank you.
I had an interesting thing with WooCommerce that I finally sorted out last month. I had for my whole site, I have fixed pricing for mailing of or shipping of $8, except one item, which was $50. And it was for years it was $7, and since the postal rates had gone up, I raised it to $8. Well, then somebody ordered the one item, and of course they paid $51. And we went through WooCommerce with a fine-tooth comb and tried to figure out where or how that was set. And it turns out what it is you have your standard shipping fee of $7, what was $7 or $8 or whatever you want. And then I had the exclusion or the special item, and that was not at $50. That was at $43. So it took $43 plus the $7, and that generated the $50. So when I changed the 7 to 8, all of a sudden it's now going to $51. Couldn't figure it out. I had all sorts of WooCommerce people looking at this, and nobody could figure it out. And finally, in the middle of the night, it dawned on me, oh, I made the change. So I went, and now I wanted to raise the $50 to $55. So I changed it to $48 plus the $8 and or 47 and the 8, and I get the $55 now. But boy, that was very frustrating for several days trying to sort that thing out.
Well, I'm glad you figured it out. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very good. Well, I think we'll call it a night unless anybody has a burning question.
Thank you. It was a wonderful presentation, Kathy.
Yes, again, Kathy, thank you so much. I'll see you at work tomorrow on Slack.
Nice seeing
Thanks,
everybody
everyone.
again.
Bye, everybody. Good to
Bye.
see y'all. Bye.